There we go.
So I was really inspired by hearing your daughter sing yesterday. So here we go.
Oh my god.
If I could turn back the hands of time,
Is that
then
Cher?
my darling, you would be mine. That's me singing.
That's very, very nice. Have you tried karaoke before?
Oh my God. I have. Yes, I have. And there's some of my most like cringeworthy, embarrassing memories that I never want to think about.
I know, right? Yeah, it always includes alcohol. I think if alcohol wasn't around, one, there wouldn't be 8 billion people on the planet, and
Yeah.
two, karaoke bars would not be around.
You should ask my brother about
Uh,
our karaoke experience because we did one together once and whew.
oh yeah, we went out once with someone that we know that loves karaoke, or at least that's what he does to get his attention things
Yeah.
out of the way. His narcissistic tendencies. He loves that. Karaoke is great for that. If you're good, of course.
Yeah. Yeah, of course.
You know, but
Gotta have all the attention.
yeah, it's funny though. If you're good at karaoke, it's like being a celebrity in a karaoke bar because everyone just gravitates towards you and tells you, "Oh, you're so good."
That's so true. You're a
Yeah.
15-second celebrity.
Yeah, you become a celebrity at that point. All the girls gravitate to. Oh, if you're a guy, I mean, it just works that way. It's really funny to watch.
Yeah.
Really funny to watch and experience. So yeah, how's your weekend so far?
Well, it's great. I've been on vacation all week.
Okay.
Well, I'll say staycation. I didn't go anywhere.
Well, that's nice. I mean, staycations are still just as good.
Yeah, it was great. Well, I went to the beach. I went to the pool. I didn't get any more tan because I have to wear a lot of sunscreen.
Yeah, I hear you. Me too. I protect myself really well. I wear hat, sunglasses, rash guards, everything. Everything. It's not worth it for me. I mean,
Yeah,
I get burned.
I don't like being sunburned.
It's not. I mean, well, maybe you just don't get tan. Like some, like me too. I'm like that too. I get burned. You know, I don't
Well,
really get
see,
tan.
I get burned and then it turns into a tan, but I don't like, the pain of being sunburned.
Yeah, I get it.
It's
I
not
totally
worth
get
it.
No, it's not. So yeah, I'm always putting on sunscreen, which is good for you,
Right.
apparently, right?
Right.
Well,
All
there's a
right.
lot last week. I guess we'll go through.
Yeah, there's a lot going on, but first of all, let's say
Yeah,
that this is the Uncovering Anomalies podcast. Thank you
UAP.
all so much for joining us. That, of course, is Adam. I am Tip Top Topher.
Ooh, tip top. At least the question mark's gone.
Yeah, I changed it.
You're in tip top shape, my man.
Oh, I wish.
All
I
right,
wish.
that is your goal then, is to be in tip top shape.
Yeah. It's like one of those, it's like a dream board thing,
Right.
You put it there and you hope to get there
Yes.
eventually.
Yeah, goal oriented. I became a more goal oriented person when I went to military school. Actually, I
Oh,
mean,
nice.
yeah, they taught me how to do that. Just small goals, and set these easy to achieve goals, achieve them, and then just have that same mindset. It doesn't mean you're not going to fail. It just means that it just means like just get up and keep going and don't quit.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
I think that's what I I grew up playing football and it's kind of the same thing.
Yeah.
But anyway, you got anything lined up already?
I do actually. I was thinking today that both you and I are the producers of the show because I do pre-production and then you do post-production. But together it comes out as a very nice show.
Well, and then you do post-production.
Well, no, that's different. That's marketing. That's marketing. Putting it up, sharing it, interacting with everyone. Now it's called UFO X and not UFO Twitter, by the way. I'm like, what's this new thing people are sharing? It took me a while. Sometimes I can, sometimes things don't click with me for a while. I'm like, oh yeah, it's not called Twitter anymore. It's X. I thought it was like a because when someone shared one of our tweets and it was like a really deep one. No, not deep, but from all the stuff we've been hearing, all the leaks and all the shows we've done, it was just a nice snippet of what could be going on. Someone reshared and put UFO X. And when I thought, I'm like, oh, maybe because it's like it's really deep or something, so it's like X, but no, it's because the platform's called X.
Do you think, real quick,
yeah,
before we get started, do you think switching it to X is just a quick little like marketing thing, or do you think he's actually doing it like officially, like finally?
I think he's been obsessed with it for a while, right? We spoke.
Yeah, we talked about that.
Yeah, he just loves this X thing. I think it's always been a goal of his, and I think this is why he spent the 44 billion. It's not because social media and sharing. He has way bigger plans for this platform, and he said it. He wants you to buy on it. He wants you to spend your entire day on X. Not
boy. So he wants it to be the next Facebook, essentially. Well,
yeah, exactly.
When Facebook was Facebook, and now it's a dying platform.
Right. Well, I got this queued up.
Okay,
it's Schellenberger. He's one of the important ones in the UFO disclosure effort. I mean that list we sent last week, the timeline. He's one who put it together with all the documents in the public domain, and all these lieutenants after Roswell doing anyway. So here's him. He's not a right winger or anything. He is a liberal. I think he grew up in San Francisco. But here's Schellenberger talking about climate change. So
all right, let's see it.
Yeah.
Climate change is destroying your future. Carbon dioxide is accumulating in the atmosphere. Global warming is killing the Great Barrier Reef. But there's more to this story. Over the last decade, total global emissions declined. Deaths from natural disasters have diminished to a few hundred a year in the United States, even as the global population quadrupled over the last century. They've declined internationally by over 90%. The Great Barrier Reef recorded the highest amount of coral in 36 years, and maybe longer, because that's the amount of time that we've been studying and measuring. How come nobody is saying that? You've all heard.
I don't know why nobody's saying that.
Well, someone's profiting.
Oh,
yeah,
someone's profiting, and this is a nice website talking about this. Goes through all of the graphs that were shown in that clip. I remember you saying that because you went, and this is last week even. You visited the Barrier Reef.
Yeah, exactly.
But
I hadn't heard this. This is the last time I heard it was like destroyed.
Right, and because that's what's in the news. It sucks, you know. I mean, when you look at global weather and climate disasters, 2000 and 2001, it basically declined. Cost of disasters declining. Was landfalling U.S. hurricanes have declined. No trend in global measure hurricane frequency. It's all like it's such a well-run planet, and we know by doing this show that's managed. Someone manages this planet and does a fucking great job at it. Excuse my French there.
you're good.
Despite what we do to it and try to do to it, something is just keeping it extremely stable.
Yeah. Well, I still think it's not an excuse to throw all of our garbage in the ocean.
Right. No, it's not.
It's not an excuse for oil companies to continuously screw up with their oil platforms and stuff like that.
Right. I mean, yeah, it's very sad to see what it does to the planet and to the animal life that's there. Look at this. I didn't even know about this. A third of the Netherlands lies below sea level. Some areas as low as 7 meters. Netherlands was marshland, right? And so now they have more land area. So it's the opposite of what's happening when they're saying, "Oh, sea levels are rising." It's the actual opposite.
Yeah,
I mean, Netherlands would know about that. There's that great guy Pena. I think we shared that last week, right? He was saying how there'd be no beachfront properties and no banks putting up the money and no investors putting up the money if. Seriously, in 30 years, there'd be no shorelines. Like, why would they invest all this money?
Yeah.
He's like, look at the banks.
It really bugs me when, you see celebrities or politicians talking about like sea levels rising and yada yada yada, and they're buying beachfront property or they're going on their yachts,
Right? Yeah,
and
yeah.
stuff. Yeah,
Doing the complete opposite. But here, the website says not everything is great. A whopping 91% of plastic isn't recycled after
yeah,
all the work we do.
that doesn't surprise me at all.
So again, it's just for us to feel good. It has nothing with anything else. Like, where is it? Where's the they showed something with plastics with straws. Here it is. So straws, you know how we passed a law in California and many other
Yeah.
states. Look at
Yeah.
this. It's 0.03% of plastic waste.
I know it's all feel good legislation.
Yes. It's something that we see with our eyes. Since we all use straws, we're like, let's make a law against straws, even though it means nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh man,
It's human psychology, dude, is most of this issue.
Yeah, that's so true.
And look at this. Miami Beach then and now is 1925. And look at 2017. Of course, they built up the properties. They invested because they knew it's going to be the same.
Yeah.
I mean, we know finance runs this planet, right? And they know everything. And just look at their reports. If they don't put these things in their reports, it's all good. They're not warning anyone. Only one people warning are politicians.
Yep.
So yes, I don't know what has to do with UFOs, but it is an anomaly in our world. And UFOs and aliens always tell us about the environment, though, don't they? Is that always the message?
It's always the message. Anytime, like I'm thinking about those kids in
yes.
What country it was? I thought it was South Africa, but it was Ethiopia
or Tasmania. One of the previous white ruled ones. It was that one.
It's the aerial school kids.
Yeah,
that had the UFO come down and land in their next to their schoolyard. And yeah, that's exactly what the aliens said.
Yeah, and it's always about that. Like, Lee, what's your obsession with technology? It was usually about nukes, though, and what the damage they do. They don't really say stop using oil or stop burning fossil fuels. They don't say that.
Yeah. It's usually about nukes. All right, so what's this article you got for me?
All right, so back into UFO. So now this is Fox News, right? They've been covering the hearings afterwards, and one thing that came out that was submitted to the congressional record was Russian UFO engagements. Is one of them, right? Because that leaked out when the fall of the Soviet Union, but that's now in the congressional record. There's a secret Tic Tac report, and we'll be talking about that. I couldn't find it exactly where the report was, but I think I found it. 3 key figures slip under radar at congressional hearing. So this is Cavuto. It's only 3 minutes. Let's take a listen. It's Ryan Graves. He's on there. Yeah, let's take a listen. But it's good to see Fox News covering this seriously too. No cringeness.
Yeah.
Whose lives depend on accurate identification are frequently witnessing these phenomena. Parts of our government are aware of more about UAP than they let on, but excessive classification practices keep crucial information hidden.
All right, Ryan Graves kind of jolted the world, certainly in Washington, where they were looking at very real evidence that aliens not only exist, but we have the proof. He joins us right now. Ryan, the reaction you got was one of shock and awe, I think, of Nancy Mace and others who almost couldn't respond with some of your revelations. A lot of others said, not true. It's not nearly as detailed or outlined as Ryan, presented it. What do you say?
Well, I think we can just reference the story that Representative Gates told during the hearing himself. Him and other representatives went down to an Air Force base in Florida to attempt to speak to various pilots who had reached out because they had been observing objects on their radars, on their camera systems that they couldn't explain, that they felt was a safety risk. And they were not in a position that they felt safe to be able to report that. In fact, it was reported that they felt more comfortable destroying those tapes than to sit through a potential very long debrief to discuss the issue.
Now, do you remember that when Gates came out and he said that? And this happened only a month ago, before the hearings, or a month before the hearings. He was alerted by some of his constituents that happened on Air Force Base. He brought in Luna and Brichette to there. The general refused to show them refused to show them the evidence, and refused to allow them to speak to the Air Force pilot. So that's what he's speaking about here.
That's the schism.
I know, it's so crazy. So Graves, he's brave, this guy. You know, not many people will come out and just be brazen like this. And just
Yeah, no, it's super
scared.
cool to see.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing, is it'd be really easy to just give up on something like this, you know?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, but then you have people saying, "Oh, they're grifting," and I don't, it's so annoying, the whole grifting. We live in a system of money,
Yeah.
so you know he's either gonna support himself by raising awareness to this, right? Somehow support himself. That's not a grift. I don't, you know, it's not a grift. Means you're
It's
lying
just-
to people to make
It's
money.
just another one of those words, you know, that get
Racist.
yeah, that gets thrown around, you know, just to put down someone you don't agree with. That's
Yeah,
all
yeah,
it is.
yeah.
I hate it. I hate that.
Yeah, me too.
I hate that system of using racist or sexist or, you know, transphobic or grifting.
Just give him a label, and you know, don't listen to anything he says.
Exactly. Yes.
I guess it works the same way as conspiracy theorists, right?
Yes, it's the same exact thing.
All right, let's see what else he says.
So this is something that pilots are dealing with. This is something that they do not have the proper safety channels to report. And that's really what I'm looking to push forward out of this conversation, this hearing.
There's the grift, but you know what? That is his angle. Nothing's wrong with having an angle. His angle is to increase reporting and to decrease the stigma that comes with reporting on this. That is not a grift. That is an angle, you know. And he started an organization, right? And where pilots can feel comfortable coming to his organization and helping bring this about, where it's just, you know, not cringe or I guess
I think he's just being racist against pilots.
Yeah, how dare he like try and support them and make them feel welcomed in something, you know?
Yeah.
By the way, this is the guy who saw the cube objects, the spheres within cubes.
That's such a weird one too.
It is. He says he saw them all the time, and it's because they had new equipment installed on the jets, and this new equipment was seeing them, and they're all over the place all the time.
That is just bizarre,
isn't it, dude? And like that's why they say it's a Matrix or something.
Maybe
like that.
You know what? Maybe that's what we saw. You ever think about that?
Yeah, I mean, because it was morphing. I remember, you know.
Yeah.
Some of us also remember that it was changing shape. I mean, yes, it was a sphere or whatever, but it would morph, like go back and forth between a sphere and a cube. You know,
maybe it's just that's the phenomena where, you know, even though we're seeing the same, I'll say, event going on,
right?
It's all, you know, we all perceive it differently because we're different people. That's kind of. Yeah, that's kind of what I think.
It was far away too, you know.
It was pretty far away. It was
so it could have been
up.
I mean, I don't know. It was just weird. We brought it up again yesterday, and it was a 45-minute event.
Yeah,
that we
and that's the funniest thing is it just chilled up above where we were having dinner or lunch, whatever. I guess it was lunch.
Yeah,
and then it just sat there and we all looked at it and just kind of went about our
we
family gathering.
And we kept looking back at it, right, and discussing whatever, just shooting the shit. And then what happened at the end? Did it just go, or we just lose interest?
It just floated off.
Weird. Very strange.
So weird.
All right, so this is safe airspace. I don't know if
well, what struck me is when you referred to recovering non-human bodies. Could you explain that?
Well, that was the testimony of Mr. Grush under oath, and he sounded like he was prepared to present information related to that in a closed session to Congress. But from my personal experience, you know, we were seeing objects on a daily basis that we couldn't attribute to any of our assets, our technology, or our capabilities.
Daily basis.
And right now, the commercial pilots that.
Yeah, and also, you know, there'll be people that say, well, you know, maybe he just doesn't know like how advanced, you know, or what advanced craft we have. And, you know, I would argue that too. Like, I wouldn't completely say we don't have those assets, right?
Yeah, I mean, and as we know, our government, what's it called? It's compartmentalized. So some branches of the government or parts of the government don't know what other parts of the government are doing. So I kind of understand that.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, well, from what he knows, but then again, he'll be speculating. All right, I mean, I think we can move on. There is a funny one I sent you, and I'm not saying anything about this, but this is really funny. It's a video. He's making fun of Jeremy Corbell.
Oh, this should be great.
But it's a good laugh, all right? I mean, and I think I don't completely agree with it. I don't completely not agree with it, but I think it's important for people to see these different angles. It's 21 minutes, but he says the gist of it in the first minute. I think it's worth listening to.
For sure.
He says here the video. Wait, sorry. This video is a review of the documentary Bob Lazar, Area 51, and Flying Saucers. The intention of this video is to show evidence of bullshit.
Wait, so hold on.
Hold on. He did get rated.
This is the documentary that you and I went to go see, right?
Yes. Yeah, we saw the premiere. We were at the LA premiere.
We've talked about that on the show, right?
Yeah. I mean, we stood in line, and
oh,
I mean,
man, it was a fun night.
It was a
Kind
fun
of
night, but we came away with the
a-
same attitude of what this guy is saying, kind of
Yeah.
way. So listen, it's a great one to watch.
By the FBI. That's in my film. I found the guy that did the security clearance for him. I found the guy that did the security clearance for him to be able
a hand reader. And Jeremy, you found this.
I found it. So I was able to reveal it in my film. You're going to hear and see things that are new evidence, new things that have happened over 30 years. It will change the landscape.
So, Jeremy, how do you know?
I love when he talks about this shit.
Bob Lazar, Area 51 and Flying Saucers is a documentary by Jeremy Corbell. It's
This guy's hilarious.
As you were watching that entire, listening to that entire clip that we just played, it just kept saying liar, liar, liar.
Brutal.
And it's not. Yeah, that's why he goes. Documentary.
Yeah, documentary.
Yeah, I mean nothing new was said. The whole documentary was about proving Bob Lazar's.
Dude, everything we say, what we said walking out of that documentary, he says everything. It's hilarious, and people should definitely watch this. Not anything against Jeremy, all right, but really, this documentary, he didn't.
Oh, everything against Jeremy
on this one, yeah. I mean,
like we always, I know we bring him up all the time and we rag on him.
He wants it, man. He's everywhere. He's always on the mainstream media. He's
the main character in everything, and it just drives everyone up the wall.
Yeah, and it ruins it for many. It ruins it. Well, especially the debunkers use it big time. That he's around. But here, let's just really quickly see what else.
Okay, all right.
supposedly the definitive telling of Bob Lazar's fascinating story. Sadly for Bob, Jeremy makes terrible films. He also has a strange relationship with the truth. Let's take a look. And unlike Jeremy Corbell, I will actually provide proof. Imagine that as to why Jeremy's claims of new evidence are bullshit.
For me, it was 1989 and Bob Lazar telling his story. That's what weaponized my curiosity about. My imagination has been weaponized. I want your imagination to be weaponized. Weaponize your curiosity. That's my goal, to weaponize your curiosity. My curiosity was weaponized from that weaponization of my curiosity. And I really hope to weaponize people's curiosity. Weaponized my curiosity. My curiosity was weaponized. I want to weaponize your curiosity. I have a weaponized curiosity.
Like weaponize my curiosity.
Weaponize that.
First, a bit about...
Okay.
Listeners, you'll never guess what Jeremy Corbell's podcast is called.
Yeah, never. You'd never guess. Oh man, that's hilarious. But maybe we should put that in the poll actually of the episode.
Yeah.
You know, because we have questions. What do you think of the episode? We should be like, what do you think Jeremy Corbell podcast is called?
That's not a bad idea.
Oh my god, that's so funny. It's brutal. This review.
The more he's around, the more I think you're right. I think he's CIA.
That was my first thing I got when I just met with him. Not met with him, but when I just first encountered him and his demeanor and his
his threatening to jujitsu people.
Yeah,
I'll never.
He looked
I'll
like a
never
military
forget that.
contractor, you know, because I went to Iraq and I met these guys, and that's what he looked like to me. He looked like a military contractor, a CIA
Yeah.
military contractor.
Well, and I've said this on a previous episode. It looks like, you know, the government was like, hey, you
Yes.
know, let's get someone in the UFO community. Okay, what do UFO people look like? That, you know, what could they
Dude,
look like that
so
would be cool?
perfect. So perfect. Yes, I forgot you said that. Yeah. He is like a caricature of the UFO experts.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh man.
All right, so we got another article here. What you got?
Yeah, so this is I like this. We share with
I like this too.
How and Why is it's a great article. It's a great news magazine. They talk about a lot about UFOs, but they reshared this basically saying that someone higher than Grush came out before people, like they're reminding us. So retired U.S. Army Colonel. Wait a minute. Is my computer fine?
What's that?
My computer's fine. I heard something. All right, we're okay.
Yeah, everything's good on my end.
We're still recording. Okay, good. So yeah, claimed aliens in Roswell UFO crash were bio-robots.
Start over so I can edit this properly.
Okay, all right. So retired U.S. Army Colonel claimed aliens in Roswell UFO crash were bio-robots built for space travel. Now, this is, of course, Colonel Corso, right, who wrote the book Day After Roswell. So he apparently had higher clearances than Grush, was higher in the military than Grush, and he came out and wrote books. So we've had a whistleblower, come out. This isn't anything new.
And The Day After Roswell is one of the more popular books about Roswell.
Oh yeah. And so Corso emphasized that the advancement in the technology that the world achieved in the past decades could not be possible without the help of other worlds. Scientists such as Dr. Herman Oberth, Stanton Friedman, Robert Sarbacher, W.E. Smith, Dr. Werner von Braun, etc., are disregarded or ridiculed when they say, quote, "We cannot take the credit for our record advancements in certain scientific fields alone. We have been helped by people of other worlds." So, great article. Talks about, Roswell history and what he was. I mean, for people that don't know, Corso, he was in charge apparently of declassifying technology they got from the craft, right? Not declassifying it, giving it to the corporate world. The corporate world would figure out what it was, patent it, and put it into products and make money out of it. And he was in charge of that, and he wrote a book about it. It's just fascinating things. We just think about the vastness of our, I guess it's a global empire, right? It's based on these crashes and these technologies. Because what is the might of the U.S. empire? It's technology and how advanced we are over other countries.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, look at our military. I mean, we're always using fancy gadgets and stuff. I mean, hell, we can bomb a Middle Eastern village from Nevada. You just have some guy sitting at a computer flying a drone.
Exactly. He doesn't care. It's like a video game to him.
Yeah. I think that's, and I just on that point, I think that's the point. It's supposed to be like a video game.
Yeah, because you don't want the empathy. You don't want the human to feel with the other human. And
I honestly do think Call of Duty, the video game, I think it's a what's it called? It's supposed to drum up people enlisting for the military. That's honestly what I think that is.
Yeah, I mean, it's I mean, because if you,
it's a tool.
It's a tool. Yeah. It's a training tool. Yeah, exactly. Well, so he goes, according to him, which is Corso, gray aliens, also referred to as Zeta Reticulans, were not really aliens, but bio machines simply created to work on other planets. He wrote that as far as he knew, no one had encountered real aliens, and all eyewitnesses or abductees had seen only big-headed and black-eyed bio machines. This is what he's been saying. He's like I guess the first one who said this. To prove his claim, Corso described what he had seen during the autopsy. He wrote that those aliens were without any digestive system, and their bodies were linked to the spacecraft as if they were controlled through ships. Crazy, man.
That's super interesting.
Yeah.
But I
it
mean,
goes also to like angels. You know, angels in the religions, at least the Abrahamic religions, where one, they don't question God's plan, right? They don't rebel. They do what they're told. They also don't need to eat, so they don't have no digestive system. They don't need to sleep. You know, at least these were the encounters of these beings, and they're flying in ships. So how do you tell ancient man that something is flying? You put wings on it. You know?
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
So, and I guess then the ones who rebel against God or against the plan, like these I'm sure some of them rebel, are demons or demonic.
Yeah,
you know?
get cast down.
Yeah, exactly. Get cast down, and they're here with the humans, like the ones working with the U.S. government. I know, supposedly in bases and stuff like that, are the ones who rebelled against the plan are helping us or whatever. I don't know, man. Again,
this is a good conversation for our quote unquote. I keep calling it the philosophy episode.
Oh yeah, well.
Yeah, I'd love to dig further into this, but let's for right now.
We should. I think many of our listeners are interested in that part. We are categorized as philosophy in the podcast on the podcasting platforms because I didn't want to put we're news commentary.
No, God,
they would have got rid of us a long time ago.
I don't even want to, be that.
I know it just happened to be that now because now the mainstream's talking about.
Yeah, I know.
Right, and so we're forced into it, kind of in a way.
Yeah, definitely. Well, and we do touch on politics here and there.
We do, and well now because it does have and here's again, this is defense scoop. Maybe it's not a big thing, but it's it gets a lot of traffic, and it's not like it's some conspiracy site.
Yeah. So what's the title of the article?
So we reported on this last week. This is UAP hearing sparks clash between Pentagon officials and witnesses. So if you remember, after the hearings, Kirkpatrick wrote a letter, right?
Yep.
Yeah, and basically the Defense Department the DoD had to respond to that. So where's that? Because we didn't talk about that. We talked about the letter that we called him the crybaby, right? All right, so here we go. The DoD says the department is aware of Dr. Kirkpatrick's post, which are his personal opinions expressed in his capacity as a private citizen, and we won't comment directly on the contents of the post. We do want to reinforce the department's unwavering commitment to openness and accountability to the American people and Congress. So that's what she said. Go. She's a spokesperson. So basically, it's okay. Kirkpatrick has his own opinions, but our official statement is we are dedicated to openness and accountability to the American people.
I mean, it's just more proof that there's some sort of schism, some sort of fight going on.
Yeah.
Between the people in power, which is interesting in and of itself.
It is, and that's what we're seeing here. We're seeing a fight, and we're seeing the officials gaslight us that everything's fine and that they're committed to openness and transparency. But she continues to say, to date, AARO has not discovered any verifiable information to substantiate claims that any programs regarding the possession of reverse engineering of extraterrestrial materials have existed in the past or exist currently. Wow.
Bye AARO.
I guess, yeah. I mean, I guess they're not really following up with anyone like Rush or the Inspector General. Right.
Oh man, this is crazy. Our government lies to us. That
I know.
is just bizarre.
And some don't like that within the government, and they're the ones coming forward and asking for protection because there's retaliation against them. So that's what we need to look at.
Sorry, I keep right there. I keep coughing, and I'm trying to keep the mic away from me when I do.
No, that's fine.
I apologize to our listeners who have to.
I think Joe Rogan has he has a cough button, doesn't he? Like the mute.
Yeah, we are not that high level yet.
Oh no.
I don't have a cough button. I've got a USB microphone plugged into a laptop.
So, but your mic's pretty good. It actually filtered out most of that.
Yeah, I like my mic. I mean, it could make me sound less nasally, but you know, we do what we can with what we've got.
Hey, I wonder in post-production if they have like a less nasally button. You know how you can like pretty much do anything.
Well, I'm post-production and I'm using a free software to edit, so I don't think it's got that capability.
You know, you'll be surprised with these free softwares, especially like the open source, because a lot of these paid ones take the open source stuff and just add a few things to it, right?
Yeah. Well, that's why I'm going with the free stuff. Actually, it used to be called Audacity, and this is a complete side topic. We don't have to talk about this.
Oh, right.
They changed their name.
Oh, they did?
Yeah, it's not Audacity anymore. I don't know what the hell it's called.
Well, here's that report that keeps coming up. Scientific report confirms multiple Tic Tac UFOs were tracked above 80,000 feet during West Coast 2004 encounters. Now, they don't link it here. I usually love this publication, Liberation Times, but they do not link it. It's all about Jeremy Corbell.
He finds a way to make himself
I know.
the main character in all this stuff.
Yeah, because and I don't know why they don't link to it, but I think I found it. I sent. Here's a picture. There he is. You got Graves. You got Drush. You got Fravor, Nab. Alien Scientist is really funny. He was commenting. He's like, "Why is George Knapp like sitting there all smushed up in the seats, and Jeremy Corbell is sprawled out on 3 seats?"
We all know why. We've all done it long enough on this podcast.
Oh man! So, unfortunately, they're in this article, but I think I found, because I sent this to you, and yeah, this is a great. It's a great thread here. David Grush may have seen proof of an extraterrestrial mothership commanding a Tic Tac UAP. It sounds crazy, but it's spelled out in declassified documents. Here it is. So, as you know, and I know, and maybe most of our listeners, that Grush was part of the NRO, which is the National Reconnaissance Office. It was a hush-hush, even more secretive than the NSA, and they control all of our sensors in space. All the satellites, so they have something called sentient, and this thing can see using all these different, using AI, machine learning, using all these, using all of our sensors, they can visualize in 3D what's going on without using cameras. Does that make sense? But anyway, there's a report that came out that during the Tic Tac event, they saw a mothership under the water, which was huge. So in 2021, it appears Mr. Grush was the acting chief of the operations center for the NRO. He led a team of 30, and he was responsible for the president's daily brief. Any intel at NRO went through Mr. Grush. All right, so they're showing off his credentials.
I mean, it just seems like I know it's 4chan, but that 4chan link leak that we talked about a few episodes ago, it just seemed like all the evidence just seems to line up with that leak. It's crazy.
It does, yeah.
And it's like it's a 4chan leak. I mean, you can't. That's basically it means nothing.
But we know the government uses 4chan to leak.
But I mean, it just everything that we're learning, makes that leak sound truer and truer. So I'd ask you, Cuz, to put that leak back into the show notes, just so people can go back and read it, because everything that we're learning lines up with what's in that leak.
Yeah, you're right. And here it is. So one of the programs the NRO has been developing is "quote unquote" sentient. It works sort of like the precogs from Minority Report. They predicted crime. They predicted crime before it happened. Sentient predicts where surveillance targets will appear, so it can have a satellite watching in advance. We know about sentient and how it works from declassified NRO briefings. Okay. What else can sentient identify? UAPs. It has the entire machine learning model devoted to spotting them. It just has to be turned on. And here it is. Here are the documents.
That is wild.
Yeah. On May 6, 2021, sentient detected a UAP over an unidentified ocean. It did not match the visual signature of a normal aircraft. It was less than 30 feet long. It looked like the Tic Tac.
Wow.
Yeah, we know from internal NRO documents that this Tic Tac was likely not a sensor artifact or focal plane anomaly. It appeared in multiple satellite images, not merely one capture. So our government has these images, people. Here's
Oh,
where,
shocker.
yeah, I know, right? And probably HD. Here's where things get really interesting. During the original Tic Tac sighting near the Nimitz in 2004, F-18 pilots observed a 747 size disturbance just beneath the water.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, this Tic Tac was moving in the vicinity of that larger unidentified object. It has long been speculated that the larger object may have been controlled or controlling the Tic Tac. In this interpretation, the larger object was sort of a command and control vessel. Is there anything from sentient to corroborate the theory? Yes, this guy says. Let's give this one a retweet. And
while we're here, let's retweet.
Oh no! Wait a minute. Oh, here we go. NRO documented that the Tic Tac was accompanied by another object 25 kilometers to the west. The description of the object is redacted. However, the NRO concluded it was a high-interest vessel whose simultaneous presence was notable. Man, could you imagine being on these teams like Grush?
I mean, that's like my dream right there.
But like this guy, I know, right? Me too. We always talk like how did he, look who's there? Look who's there!
Oh my
Grush.
God! Every time Corbell's sitting behind Grush in this next tweet, he's in the foreground. I mean, you can barely make out anyone else's face except for his.
Dude,
he's definitely an asset or something. I mean,
yeah, maybe a good one.
Oh,
Who knows?
And there's Nap.
Oh yeah, there's Nap. So that's what they're saying. Like he's all like he's not comfortable here, but apparently there's like 2 chairs here, and he's sprawled out on the 2 chairs.
Yeah, of course.
Oh wait, no, there's a guy right here. What's his name? He's the
but he's directly behind Grush, so you can't see who he is. But Corbell made sure that he's on camera, front and center.
There. Yeah. Well, we know anyway. I don't want to read into that too much.
Let's move on to the next story.
All right. So anyway, that's crazy.
That is crazy.
And he was in charge of that team. And I think that's what also made him come out. Because if you remember during the News Nation interview, he said when they asked him about the Tic Tac, he goes, "Truly anomalous, truly anomalous." That's what he kept saying. So this show, the next topic is the Vatican and UFOs. News Nation tried to go and get comments from the Vatican since Grush said that they gave us information of a crashed UFO in 1933. We're trying to get information from them. So here it goes. Vatican and UFOs. What's in the archives?
Chronovisor. Just kidding. Did you look into that, by the way? The Chronovisor
one? Yes, I did. That was one of the best episodes. Yeah. That's such a crazy story. I mean, just thinking about it now, how it was in multiple timelines and that computer, and it's just so weird. It's such a weird thing. I mean, we've talked about it before, but like, yeah. I mean, definitely us in the future, right? Because that's what they were saying. But yeah.
So the Vatican, now that I think about it, it's kind of weird. I mean, I don't know. It's hard to explain. The Vatican's is like its own entity. It's even its own country, technically, right?
Yeah. It is.
That's bizarre. I mean, I know, like, Israel is Jewish, but it's not, and I guess it's its own country.
Yeah.
Do the Muslims have their own country?
I mean, no. Like Saudi Arabia is over Mecca and Medina, right? But no, like Mecca is not a sovereign nation state. Like the Vatican. The Vatican is a sovereign nation state.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they have their own. They have their own like police. Their own. I don't know. It's just. I mean, I grew up Catholic. I saw the last pope, or was the pope before that? I can't remember. I don't know. It's just like a very interesting. I can't believe
and their history is still on. I mean, and this is what they're talking about, the archives, right? You read
They got all this secret stuff
American
down
Cosmic.
there that no one can know about.
No, yeah, and that's what this clip is about. And he talks about Pasulka in here, who wrote American Cosmic, amazing book, and she was given access to the archives, and she was also given access to the UFO stuff here. I mean, anyway, it's a great book. I don't know why they chose her, but they chose her for a reason. She's really cool. I don't want to go through this whole clip because it's about 6 minutes.
Just to give you an idea of the scale, the archive runs underground under the Vatican, and Diana's written that there are 53 miles of shelving. That's how much
insane.
they have in the Vatican archive.
53 miles of shelving.
That is absolutely insane.
Could you imagine? So, like you said, they are a nation state, sovereign. No one can go after them for this stuff. It's theirs, and yeah, they have their own army. They have their own police. So
yeah,
could you imagine what our government has?
No, I don't want to. That's scary.
The largest government in the history of mankind.
Oh God! But yeah, 53 miles of shelving is. I don't want to think about it. I mean, how much cool stuff do they have down there? Like, what's so important that you have to hide it?
But the Constitution limits our government, though.
Yeah. Yeah.
Legal Man is so funny. I follow him on Twitter. He's so funny. He's always, because he knows a lot of us just love the Constitution and we're brainwashed, and he's trying to wake up people. And that's one of the things he always says. He goes, the biggest government bureaucracy on the history of the planet. But no, we have a document limiting them, guys. Just to continue on the Vatican. This is Newsweek.
Yeah.
Pressure on Vatican to reveal archives after UFO cover-up claims. Pressure is growing on the Vatican to shed light on whether it was aware of a UFO being retrieved from Italy in the 1930s, amid a slew of claims about the U.S. government's knowledge and handling of contact with alien life.
Yeah, this has been one of the more. It's one of the bigger stories that's going on with all this UFO stuff.
Yeah,
it's super interesting. But unfortunately, all we know is that they handed over. Isn't that what the story is? They handed over a UFO to the U.S.
They did. They said, "You guys take it. Come grab it and see what it's all about." Which gets me, maybe not now, but I mean, at some point, I did send you this. I'm really obsessed now with 1950s UFO movies. Like really, like I've watched 2 already. I'm like, whoa, these are really good. Like,
call them out at least.
Amazing. I watched Amazing Planet last night. Forbidden Planet, and that one is really nuts. I mean, it talks about intention and the id, which is we have the super ego and the id, right? Talks about the id, and I don't want to ruin it, but I mean, just
that sounds. You said Forbidden Planet. I'm gonna watch that. That sounds.
You'd love it. Forbidden Planet, and then before that, I watched The Earth Stood Still, but the original one.
Oh yeah.
One. So, but the context here is we've had the crash things. Eisenhower is going to come up also on this podcast because there's a book out with Eisenhower meeting aliens. But apparently, that when he met with the aliens, they wanted to use the U.S. as a way to wake up or to educate humans about alien life and other beings.
Yeah, good luck.
I know, right? But yeah, and that's why I wanted to watch these. So anyway, they're really cool. So there's a list that we'll put also, but there's the top 10. Awesome. Oh, but the context I had too is man, some countries weren't even countries back in the 50s.
Right.
And they were they didn't have roads. It was just tents and let's just say the UAE, for example. In the 1950s, there was nothing there. Zero. It was desert and tents. Right now look what it is. But the U.S. was making movies about UFOs and aliens and technologies. It was.
I think so. I'm probably misremembering this, and my mom will correct me because she's listening right now. Hi, Mom. They went to the UAE in the 90s
Yeah.
Was it the 90s? It must have
Yeah,
been.
yeah, 90s.
And they said it was just basically like a mini Vegas at that
Yeah.
point.
Or two beach fronts or something like that.
Yeah.
But in the 90s, again, it was empty. Nothing was going on in the 90s there. So yeah, just to put that into perspective, it's crazy. And then I sent you this. We now have a UFO lobbyist. So you know stuff is serious. If in Washington,
yep,
right. If there's an official lobbyist, and it's because these laws that are being passed to protect whistleblowers, one, and then now the Senate through Schumer passed what is it, the UAP Secrecy Act, right? Which sets up a committee to look at all what the government has in pictures and videos and to start declassifying them without hurting our national security.
Right. They'll declassify it like they declassified the JFK assassination.
I know, right? I mean, I hope it doesn't happen the same way.
I hope
if it's just images and pictures and stuff, you know, I think they'll do it. Like this group, they're called Declassify UAP, and this lobbyist, last name Gold, he said in an interview he hopes will bring the issue of UFO advocacy into the mainstream by tapping into traditional political grassroots strategies.
Well, as we learned last week, they don't have to declassify anything that could be considered a
national security
issue.
But you know, if it's just pictures and videos, how is that national? They would say, oh, but then our enemies would know what kind of video cameras we're using, what kind of sensors we might be using. Man, stop it. The people need to know what kind of reality they're living in.
This is why people dislike the government so much.
I know. It's like they're so super paranoid, and I get it, right? I get it. This is probably why we're at the top.
Yeah,
because the government's so super paranoid. But also the citizens are super ignorant. We can't we can't be ahead if we're dumbed down and ignorant and don't understand our reality. I think what made America so strong and great in the past is that its people were free to discuss and free to understand the reality of this world, and that's why we were so advanced. You know, once you stop suppressing that, we'll be like any other third world country.
Mm-hmm. No, I completely agree.
So yeah, so it's good to see this. We have a lobbyist that will help declassify UAP. I did share with you this one. I don't know if it's relevant for right now though. This is it's a great, a really long one, but a great speech by Scott Horton. He's a libertarian. He was at the Ron Paul Liberty Report, and basically it's the title is "Lying Us into the New Cold War with Russia." But he goes through all the wars. He goes through, especially like the war on terror and all the lies that were said there. And he's also saying the Ukraine, same thing, just all lies, just to get us into war. He's great. He hates neocons. He hates forever wars.
Good.
You know?
All right.
Yeah. And he's really funny. Strong libertarian. Let's see what I think I stopped at a good place.
And worst of all, of course, is Barack Obama sponsored a bloody coup d'etat in February of 2014 in Ukraine.
I remember that.
Yeah, our good friend.
Sorry?
I was just saying I remember that.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, people need to get reminded of where this started, this whole Ukraine thing.
Yeah.
And Lisa Kennedy from Fox News, interviewing Dr. Paul on February the 20th. 2014, she says, Dr. Paul, what is all this about? You said there's a coup d'etat going on in Ukraine. And Dr. Paul said, well, there is a coup d'etat going on in Ukraine. That's why I said that. Just watch. The next night, they overthrew the government. I mean, it was 2 days late. They overthrew the government there. And
that's where this all goes back to. You know,
and they put a 5'5" actor in charge.
Exactly. Yes, an actor, and he acted as president, right? In his show, he was president of the Ukraine.
I have no idea.
Yes,
is that true?
Yes. He played the president of Ukraine. and they voted
God, the parasitic class. They love to fuck with us.
Yeah, because they know it works. They know how our psychology works.
Yeah.
This might get us in trouble with some of our Israeli listeners. Hopefully, if they're real listeners, guys, don't worry. The truth shouldn't hurt. All right, nothing's wrong with it. So, new JFK documents reveal assassin's CIA monitor was Jewish spy Reuben Efron, Jewish immigrant from Lithuania who later lived in Jerusalem, screened the mail of U.S. president's killer before the assassination. Newly released files show. Of course, there are documentaries out there that also say that RFK and JFK were killed by Israeli Zionists, and Israeli Zionists. I mean, I mean, we are
getting this podcast shut down.
I hope not, because the truth shouldn't be.
Absolutely, the truth should never be shut down.
No, it shouldn't. But it makes sense why these documents do not come out, and that's what I'm trying to get at here. And even why, especially Trump, and Trump has said this. He's on the record saying, if you saw what's in those documents, you would not release it, right? And then he just punted it to Biden, who Biden basically said these things are never coming out, and the proof could be here. This is the documentaries right here. There's a lot of evidence about it. Proof that JFK and RFK were killed not only by traitors within the CIA, but also American and Israeli Zionists tied to the Jewish mafia and the Mossad. Yes, ouch. But, we're all about the truth of this podcast and sharing anomalies. And, again, this is just part of the puzzle here.
Yeah.
That we're sharing with our listeners.
We're not accusing anyone of anything. We're just reporting.
No. We're not. And it made sense why it's so secret, because that's one thing our government will never talk about.
Yep, exactly.
Unfortunately. Well,
yeah. Way she goes.
Yeah, where it goes. Yes, and I'm sure some Israelis will be on our side with this one. Our Israeli listeners. Speaking of, I just don't want us to forget about this. Stitcher is shutting down for our listeners that use Stitcher, and it's a good percentage of our traffic. So
I didn't know that. Stitcher shutting down?
Stitcher shutting down. It got bought out by SiriusXM.
Oh no.
Yeah. So please, Stitcher listeners, if you want to continue listening to us, please move on to Spotify, Apple, Google, whatever, Podcast Addict, just so you keep getting our show.
Yeah, we're all over the place. It's not hard to find us.
Exactly. We're everywhere.
Well, actually, it might be kind of hard to find us since every new podcast that's coming out these days does UAP.
I know, but I think we're number one if you put UAP.
Number one.
Oh, so funny. I set up a Google alert for our podcast name because it's good to know if someone talks about you, right? You can get it. So it's really funny. There's an article about Aldean or Jason Aldean talking about him. He did something where
is he a singer? Who's Jason Aldean?
Jason Aldean. Okay, he did something woke, right?
Okay.
So there's an article talking about that, but then I guess I shared something. I said, and canceled. That's all I did. And they put that in the article.
Oh my God, really?
Yeah, as one of the accounts just like bagging on him for going woke.
That's funny.
Yeah. Anyway, back to UFO stuff.
Yeah.
So James Fox is convinced that UFO evidence and more whistleblowers are coming out. This is Michael Colangelo on UFO X. He's really good. He shares some really good clips. So here's a clip of James Fox. I don't want to listen to the whole thing. It's 5 minutes, but we'll get the gist
of it.
Right.
You think this is like we just broke through?
Oh, no question. No question. No question. None. I've never said this.
Why?
I've never said this before because I could see the look on all the senators and congressmen and knowing David Grush is under oath in his credentials. He said, I'll show you where they are. I know where they are. Like, how are you not going to call his bluff on that? This is coming out. How do I know this? I've also went to Washington for almost 5 weeks just a couple months ago, and I met with a lot of the people that are working behind the scenes to get this out. They know that it's real, okay? It's just now it's a matter of how do we roll this out? How, and there is a lot of talking behind the scenes. I can assure you this is coming out. And
I wonder if this is before they took Grush's security clearance. Did you know they did that?
Wondering how this guy ended up on a podcast with another podcaster with blue hair.
I was just gonna say that the hair. He doesn't look very impressed at all, though, huh? He's like,
Yeah.
I don't believe you.
I mean, I hope what this guy is saying is true, and I think it is.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of stuff going behind the scenes, and we're kind of just seeing the tip of the iceberg.
Exactly.
As, you know,
That's
as
all what's
public.
going on. He's also a great account on UFO X. Well, he's still saying UFO Twitter. Singularity. He goes, why are aliens making hybrids? Because then their form will be perfectly adapted to the Earth, atmosphere, and ecosystem. Why did they trade tech for abductions? So they have a supply of UFOs they can drive. Why is it secret? Because if you knew, you wouldn't allow it.
I 100% agree with everything in this tweet.
Yeah.
And I would love to go in depth about this, but again, that's for the quote unquote philosophy podcast.
I mean, we can do that if we see that there's a week where it's just slow news, not too much going on. We can definitely do that, definitely, or just plan it and do it anyway.
I mean, the hybrid program is super interesting to me.
We can do next week if you want. What's next week?
Well, let's see what happens this week, and
okay,
we'll decide on like Saturday.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's do that.
All right.
This is a case that you said you knew about. I had no idea about this.
Yeah, this is super interesting.
So it's in Japan. The legend of Utsuro Bune dates back to 19th century Japan. As the legend goes, in 1803, a mysterious incident occurred on the shore of Japan that would leave.
I'll summarize.
Yeah, tell us.
Basically, this UFO-shaped thing washed up on the shore of, I can't remember, someplace in Japan, and there was a woman inside.
Mm-hmm.
And again, it's one of those old-timey things where the person inside didn't look like them, so they just assumed she was a foreigner.
Okay.
If I remember correctly, she came out, they spoke a little bit, they put her back in and just pushed her back out to the ocean.
Yeah,
I thought she had red hair.
Oh yeah, you're right. Right here.
Yeah.
So this is in a museum,
but it's an ancient tale. I can't remember. Does it say what years?
It said 1800s.
Yeah.
1803.
1803. It's super interesting. You want to go ahead and read that first tweet?
Yeah. So, as the legend goes, in 1803, a mysterious incident occurred on the shore of Japan that would leave area residents confused. A round vessel washed ashore, and a beautiful woman emerged. Her vessel was curiously shaped, and the people had never seen anything like it. The text on this drawing explains. The woman appears to be 18 to 20 years of age. She is well-dressed and very beautiful. Her skin is pale, and her eyebrows and hair are red. It was impossible to communicate with her. They were unable to figure out where she came from or what she was doing there. The woman carried a plain wooden box and acted as though it was very important to her, and her strange vessel was covered in mysterious script.
If I remember correctly, so they didn't speak the same language. They couldn't understand each other. That's
I wonder if that box.
They shoved her back in the thing and got her out of there.
Yeah, and there she is.
I mean, it's a really interesting story. I can't remember where I heard it first, but yeah, I was a little familiar with this story.
I can't see why they'd be lying about it too. It's in Japanese culture. They have all this evidence of them writing about it, and it's an event that happened for sure.
I mean, but by all the ancient drawings and stuff, I mean, the thing looked like a UFO.
Oh yeah.
Also, if I remember correctly, it wasn't a big one. It was like I mean, I'm not going to guess the
Well,
size.
she came out of it. It's right here. Look.
Yeah, no, I see that.
I mean,
And-
yeah, it wasn't huge. It's probably that's 300. That's 130 feet is 10 meters. Yeah, sure, it could be 30 feet.
Yeah, it wasn't big, but it looks, remarkably like a UFO.
Oh yeah, teardrop.
And we've talked about this. It's in old paintings, pictures of UFOs and stuff.
Yeah, Japanese paintings.
It's just crazy that like in every culture, we've got these descriptions of UFOs and stuff. I mean, this phenomenon has been going on for a very long time. That's all I'm trying to say. All right, so what do you have next for me?
Intelligence officer.
All right, so the BBC interviews Grush and his lawyer. This is on the 3rd of August. This is a big deal. Only 6 minutes though, which is not enough to interview Grush. But here, let's hear what they're talking about. Let me know if it's okay to play the whole 6 minutes. It goes by pretty fast. Let me know.
Let's give it a shot. If it gets boring, I'll tell you to cut it.
All right.
By the name of David Grush caused quite a stir last week when he gave evidence at a congressional hearing about UFO sightings. He claimed that the US government has, away from the public glare, intact and partially intact alien vehicles. And you'll hear him repeat that claim in a moment because he's been speaking to this program. A recent Ipsos poll found that about 42% of Americans believe in otherworldly UFOs or UAPs, unexplained anomalous phenomena. And 1 in 10 Americans reported they'd actually seen one. Well, here's what Republican Tennessee Representative Tim Burchett said in opening last week's remarkable hearing into alien existence.
I think it's time for this country to take back our country. We need to tell the folks at the Pentagon they work for us. Dadgummit, we don't work for them. We're not bringing little green men or flying saucers into the hearing. Sorry to disappoint. We're just going to get to the facts. We're going to uncover the cover-up, and I hope this is just the beginning of many more hearings and more people coming forward about this.
Well, I've been speaking to...
Go get him, Burchett. Did I hear you in the background screaming there when he said we're taking our government back?
Yeah, that was me.
Okay, awesome. Okay.
David Grush and to his lawyer, Chuck McCulloch. First, David, why did he decide to come forward and speak at the hearing?
It boils down to a sense of duty, and an act of, truth to power. And it seemed like me going public was the appropriate lever to pull when it comes to public accountability and emphasizing the seriousness to, different branches of U.S. government.
I love Grush, man. I gotta say it. I have good spidey senses, and I just don't get any weird things about him.
That's why he's on Mount Rushmore, baby.
He is on Mount Rushmore. Like, I really, we're lucky it's someone like him.
Yeah, for sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Like, I just love that he says it's a sense of duty and like accountability and like, I don't know, he's just a good guy. He's really doing it for these reasons.
I hope so.
I know. But I don't get this feeling. I'm just not getting it. Really, have they gone that good where they surpassed that? Maybe we'll see.
We'll see.
All right, see what this guy asks him else.
The most eye-catching claim that you made during your evidence and the one that made the most headlines was the claim that the US government has, quote, intact and partially intact alien vehicles in its possession. In other words, it has them, but it isn't telling people about them. Why did you go public with that specifically?
I found that to be very important for, the public at large to understand, their place in the cosmos, their place in the universe. And that's something, I believe the U.S. government should be, held accountable for potentially overclassifying or misclassifying basic science.
But how do you know they have these items? Because you've not seen them yourself, have you?
There's certain things that I have firsthand access to that I can't publicly discuss at this time. However, myself and other colleagues interviewed, 40 individuals, both our current and former highly distinguished intelligence and military personnel that were specifically on these programs. And those that were willing, I directed to the Intelligence Community Inspector General. So the Inspector General was able to interview these people that do have direct firsthand information.
Right. So they have
boom, direct firsthand information. And not just him. He goes, I the ones who were willing went to the Inspector General, and which we know he classified this as urgent, credible and urgent, right?
Yeah.
So okay, let's continue. See, I told you, it goes fast, right? It's
yeah.
Hear what he's saying.
This is good stuff.
Have that information directly. Have they actually seen these vehicles?
The individuals I interviewed that I directed to the Inspector General, yes, they have the firsthand experiences, yes.
Right. Which is an extraordinary claim, as you would readily acknowledge. Why, if it's true, has the government not acknowledged it?
Yeah, I mean, that's a multifaceted question. You know, it goes back, 80, 90 years ago when this was first created, and they, translated some of the secrecy from the Manhattan Project onto this subject because, they weren't sure how ontologically shocking it was going to be to the world populace. And then two, as you can imagine, it's a Pandora's box for, potential military and weapons development type reverse engineering activities. So they decided to keep it under wraps for many years.
We're talking here just about the US government.
Crazy, huh? I mean, yes, exactly.
Yeah, man, that is absolutely nuts.
How they said the Manhattan Project. So that the secrecy on that just transferred over to this one.
Yeah, that doesn't really surprise me.
No, not at all. And that's why the Department of Energy and the nuclear whatever agency also, they have all these UFO documents in there. I think his lawyer comes on too now.
Okay.
They asked him a question.
If they've got these things hidden away, surely other governments around the world might have had a similar experience. So the idea that it's a solely American thing is surely fanciful.
It does cross into other countries and other allies, to include the Five Eyes Alliance, which is something I've already stated publicly. The media reporting bias and societal transparency is a little different in the U.S. That's the crux of what most people hear, but it is certainly not an American issue.
I want to put some of the doubting voices to you in a moment, but I want to bring Chuck in first. Chuck, as a lawyer working alongside David, what are the legal implications of what he is saying and what the government is denying?
Our government relies on congressional oversight, the checks and balances of congressional oversight. David's allegation at its base is essentially that Congress does not have access to the information it needs to properly oversee things going on in the executive branch. That was his main concern. So he's briefed both of the intel committees, and he's had a 2-hour hearing, 2 hours of testimony last week.
David, can I go back to you with some of the responses that have been aired to what you said? The head of the Pentagon's office in this area, Sean.
Oh, yeah, this is what we need to listen to right here. This is very important to what he says. This is the first time we get Grush's reaction to Kirkpatrick's crybaby letter.
Yeah, let's hear it.
Kirkpatrick issued a statement last week, you'll be aware of it, calling your testimony insulting and saying that you were never a representative to his unit.
Dr. Kirkpatrick oversaw our activities and what we were doing and the money we were spending. I never said I was a part of the core team, so I believe it was just lost in translation or misconstrued.
David Grush and Chuck McCullough.
He's just a good guy, man. He could have dumped him in there, and he didn't. He said, he still said, like, he was in charge. He knew what we were doing and knew about the money we were spending.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
Yeah.
Just a real quick, I know we're trying to reduce the cursing on this podcast, but fuck Kirkpatrick. fuck that guy.
Kirkpatrick, yes. I see him as a Fauci. He's just
exactly.
Yeah,
That's a great comparison. Yeah.
He just thinks that they should know and we shouldn't know.
I am the science, or
right? Exactly.
I am the UFO expert.
I am the UAP. Anyone attacking me is attacking the UAP subject.
Exactly. Yep.
Shatner.
Oh man, you sent this to me and you said let's go after this guy. So
I mean, William Shatner calls UFO hearings ridiculous. This is someone who's made a career off this subject in a way, you know.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean,
he has.
William Shatner recent UFO claims don't make any sense. The actor thinks a potential
William Shatner.
alien would not hide being from somewhere else. Shatner is not sure whether he would return to space. I don't think he wants to space.
Let's be honest. And I said this to my mom. You have to remember these people on TV and movies and everything. They're pretenders. They literally are paid to play pretend. They're nothing. They're losers.
Yeah. They just read off scripts and they pretend to be someone else.
Yeah.
I mean, they have a talent for making us empathize with their acting, but that's about it. Like, yeah, you know what? That's not. I wanted to say like let's destroy this guy, but that's not give him any. But it's funny. He thinks it's ridiculous. That's fine. He can think it's ridiculous.
Yeah, he can go ahead and keep pretending. And get paid to play pretend.
So let's move on. I downloaded this audiobook though. It's a big book, but it's an audiobook I'm listening to. Paul Blake Smith. The book is called President Eisenhower's Close Encounters, an investigation into Eisenhower's secret agreement with extraterrestrials.
Oh, this is I know it's the Gaeta Treaty.
Yes. This book is amazing because you need at least get the Audible and listen to it. It's just so much evidence.
What's the book called?
It's called President Eisenhower's Close Encounters, an investigation into Eisenhower's secret agreement with extraterrestrials.
Too long of a title.
Yeah, it is very long of a title. But here's a great quote from there. He goes, they wanted to begin the aliens, wanted to begin an educational program for the people of Earth. Informant retiree Jerry told politician Lord Clancarty in the early 1980s. A global outreach using the USA apparently as a platform or first step. Eisenhower told them he didn't think our world was ready for that. The ex-pilot recalled, adding he was concerned this revelation would cause a panic.
The Gaeta Treaty is such an interesting, if you look into the backstory of everything that was going on and what happened, it's such a very, very interesting story. And there's multiple witnesses that back up everything that happened.
So much evidence. So like I didn't know how much actual evidence there is there. So apparently there's a video too. So the government has a video of this meeting happening.
So Eisenhower agreed with the Greys, I believe.
Right.
He allowed them to abduct humans. That's what the whole treaty was about.
Right. Oh, and bases. They're allowed also to work with us on U.S. soil with U.S. bases and to transfer technology and to help us understand their technology. But
Exactly.
yes, that they can abduct without we wouldn't stop them. Which goes back to that tweet, right? Like, why would they want to hybrid? And that's a hybridization program,
Right.
Why would they want
that's when it started, and our secret space program started there too.
Yeah, exactly. This one showed up on Zero Hedge. It's U.S. intelligence has been manipulating Wikipedia for over a decade.
Shocker. Wikipedia
is
it sucks.
So especially when you go to Wikipedia and see something that says conspiracy theories, a lot of those are not actually proven that they're not.
I'm trying to remember. God, it had to do with abducting and raping kids. There's a whole story there. I'm trying to remember the name of the thing. Damn it.
On Wikipedia? Oh, you mean Pizzagate? No,
it wasn't. It was one from the 80s. Anyway.
Oh yeah, the CIA one where they actually found it. There was an underground thing with DC, right? That one.
And the Wikipedia article just says, "Oh, this is basically, if you sum up the whole Wikipedia article, which is like, God, it's embarrassing. It's like 3 paragraphs. It just sums it up as a conspiracy theory."
Yeah, the Biden-Ukraine conspiracy theories. That's what they're talking about in this article. That Wikipedia called it a conspiracy theory, but it's not. you know, that Biden was caught blatantly saying that he stopped $1 billion to the Ukraine unless they change their inspector general investigating him and his son into corruption, something like that. So yeah, that's what that's about.
Yeah, I mean, Wikipedia is good for like entry level research.
Yeah.
But you always have to dig deeper if you're looking into something.
But even then, I remember when I went back to college, like they told us you're not allowed to use Wikipedia.
Oh no, in high school it was the same thing. They said never use Wikipedia.
So there you go, because we know, but unfortunately, it's always the first thing on the Google.
You know what? I just had this fun memory. Me and my buddies would sit in my friend's basement and we would edit Wikipedia articles because you could back then. You could just change them. We made up a whole story about pillows came from the Pillow Kingdom, and it doesn't matter.
That's hilarious. I mean, now it's very difficult to do that. You have to get an account and you have to be vetted.
It's a lot different now, but back then, I think Wikipedia was probably first starting, and so you could just edit whatever you wanted to. That's why all the teachers said don't use Wikipedia.
Makes sense. Makes sense.
All right, so what you got for me?
So this is an exclusive. Former Interior Secretary Zink. I guess he's
Zinke.
Zinke. He's Montana, right? He's a Republican representative from Montana.
He was the one that rode his horse into Congress the day he got elected, right?
That's amazing, man. I love Montana. So let's take a listen. It's just 2 minutes, but he asks him about.
Yeah, let's
Have you gotten satisfactory answers from the Pentagon and all that on the Chinese spy balloon that kind of kicked off this year? No.
What I do know is they misled.
Yeah.
On 3 points. When they said they took immediate action, they did not. When they said that it would be less risk to down in the ocean than it would across Montana. I mean, that's an outrageous overreach. The probability of hitting something off the coast of Myrtle Beach is much greater with all the boat traffic, right, than it is to down it in Montana, where the population of Petroleum County is less than members of Congress. All right, and the recovery ability on land far is greater, right? And last they said, well, it didn't surveil. How do we know?
Right.
So I think it was misleading. Yeah. There was gaps in it, but they did gain a lot of intelligence about how we react to, in this case, from the routine to a crisis to public, right?
Yeah.
How did we? What are the decision matrix on? I'm not satisfied because I think they were misleading.
And then after it, they shot down 3 other objects, but we don't quite know what they are.
And more than likely they were weather balloons.
Yeah.
But I can guarantee the one that was in the news was not a weather balloon.
Yeah.
And it had sophisticated surveillance, and the recovery was not complete of what was there, and so we were misled. And look, if we can't handle a balloon, how are we going to handle bears over the pole, or as an example, right?
Have you heard of this new UFO UAP whistleblower, David Grush?
I've always been intrigued about UFOs. Right?
In Montana.
From Montana,
I'm in Montana, I love how he says that, because it has to do with UFOs.
Love it.
Yeah.
I have, friends that swear up and down, good, legitimate people that they've seen a UFO, something they can explain. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think we should know, and so I'm glad the administration is disclosing more, because I think it's of interest.
Yeah, I'm watching.
All right, that was cool, man. Really cool seeing that.
Super cool.
This on the Hill, a monumental UFO scandal is looming. It made the rounds big time last week. It's probably the biggest article on the Hill. Even the author did an interview, which I'll be sharing but this is definitely something we should read, like our listeners should read. It basically says, listen, either the government is really hiding these things, or this is one big psyop. And they don't really, articles don't usually say psyop. They didn't use it with anything else. Like they never used it with COVID or anything like that. Even that is a proven psyop on many levels. But here we can listen to this guy.
Yeah, let's do it.
This is the author.
I can't hear anything if you're playing something.
Oh, sorry. Oh, here it is.
Is titled "A Monumental UFO Scandal Looming." And it's been the Hill's top story today. So as we continue News Nation's groundbreaking coverage of the UFO phenomenon, Merrick joins us now live. Merrick, thank you very much for joining us. You wrote today that there's one of two options here that's going on from the U.S. government: a decades-long cover-up, or a staggeringly brazen psychological disinformation campaign. So my question to you is, what's to be gained in either scenario by the U.S. government? Why would they do that?
So it's a really good question, Mike, and thanks for having me, first of all. And I think I'm going to dive into the realm of speculation here, which I'm very uncomfortable doing. I'm much happier analyzing the facts as they exist. But if you believe the whistleblower, David Grush, in scenario one, if there was in fact this decades-long UFO retrieval and reverse engineering effort, it was partially born out of potentially Cold War politics, but also a fear that the ontological shock, the societal shock of revealing this information would be too much, and there could potentially be societal unrest and political and social unrest. So that's one side of it. If we're dealing with a disinformation operation, this could potentially be, and again, I'm speculating and not comfortable doing so, but this could be to potentially fool our adversaries into believing that we could potentially have remarkable technology. It could run the gamut. So that's my speculative answer.
All right. I mean, he doesn't deviate too far away from any other speculative answer.
No, I think that's a pretty level-headed answer.
Yeah, it's a great article too, and you can see at the last one. I mean, it does make sense. Yeah, you would want to scare China and Russia.
Right.
This would be a great way of doing it, but they've been doing it already for 80 years. So
yeah,
we're seeing a fight going on. Let's see, what else do we have? This is a good one too. I didn't know where to. This is Brett Baer on Fox News, and he brought on both Representatives Grothman and Garcia from the Oversight House Committee that asked Grush the questions. So I guess it just shows that how, one, the mainstream media is bringing these people on, and two, is that how serious our Congress is taking this.
Yeah. All right, so let's give it a listen.
Yeah. Okay. It's because Garcia's cool. The reason why I'm focusing on Garcia is because he's out of Long Beach, California, and other whistleblowers have come out and said that there are corporations in Long Beach that are part of the reverse engineering of these crafts. So that's his district. So that's why I'm interested in what he says, and if they're going to lobby him to shut up or push this. That's why I'm. All right, let's see what these.
And much more investigation just a few days ago. Joining us tonight, Wisconsin Republican Congressman Glenn Grothman and California Democratic Congressman Robert Garcia, the chair and ranking member of that oversight committee. That the other day, Congressman Grothman, boy, it raised a lot of eyebrows. What did you get out of it, and where does it go from here?
Well, we had two naval pilots who said they saw unidentified anomalous phenomena. And they both said other pilots, one in the Pacific, one in the Atlantic, one seeing little tic-tac shaped objects, the other seeing spheres with a box in it. Other pilots saw it as well. I've since had a conversation with someone who was involved in the Department of Defense who insists our military is withholding information on this. So while it seemed kind of an offbeat thing for Congress to focus on, it's high time we did. There's been a lot of speculation on this going on for dozens of years. And I think it demands more questioning. Not to mention the star witness, who we just saw there a second ago, kept saying he could not reveal things until he was in a more confidential setting, which I think forces me to meet him in a more confidential setting.
All right, Congressman Garcia, I'm going to play another soundbite from the whistleblower telling Congress the U.S. is concealing this multi-decade program. Take a listen.
I was informed in the course of my official duties of a multi-decade UAP crash retrieval and reverse engineering program, to which I was denied access to those additional read-ons when I requested it.
Are you aware of any individuals that are participating in reverse engineering?
We heard all this. Nothing new for us. But oh yes, this is what I wanted to show you. So there is a general that came forward. The Roswell cover-up. Brigadier General Thomas DuBose breaks the silence. This is not a deathbed one, but pretty close to it. And he was the one at the base. He was the one holding the debris.
That's I said, I think either we were texting about it or I told you about that. That whole picture is fake. The guy who's about to talk right now, the one who's holding up the quote unquote debris from Roswell, he came forward and said, the stuff that I'm posing with, he said he went back to the base with the actual like parts of the wreckage, and he came back. He was pulled back into a room, and then he came back out, and the stuff that he brought was no longer there, and he was told pose. He was told to pose with whatever was in the room, and that's what this stuff is.
Oh my God, Roswell!
Yeah, it's nuts, man.
It's crazy how Roswell is the only thing that Grush wasn't approved to say. So let's take a listen.
In 1947, General Ramey's chief of staff was Colonel Thomas DuBose. Shortly before he died, he was interviewed on home video. As a retired brigadier general, he is the highest-ranking officer ever to comment on the Roswell incident.
It was a cover story. The balloon part of it is the story that's to be given to the press, and that is it, and anything else, forget it. And McMullen, if you ever knew him, if you told him that he wanted to run something, he goddamn sure ran it. He knew every facet of the operation. He's a busybody. He wanted to know what the hell was going on, who was pissing on the sidewalk, and all that sort of thing.
General McMullen, the deputy head of Strategic Air Command at the Pentagon, was in charge of the entire operation, according to General DuBose.
McMullen told me, you are not to discuss this, and this is a point of which this is more than top secret, as he said. Beyond that, it's within my priority as deputy to George Kenney, and he in turn responsible to the president. This is the highest priority you could exist, and you will say nothing, and that's the end of it.
Cover it up, baby. Cover it
the
up.
Audio is not great. I highly recommend that our listeners go and click into the link that Adam will put in the show notes. As always, you can find everything that we talk about in the show notes, and watch it for yourselves. Hopefully, you can get a little bit clearer of sound of what he's saying. It's
right.
And I recommend you look into Roswell. Read the day after Roswell. I mean, they're not telling us the truth.
No, it was covered up, and that's one of the things that Grush was asked too. Is like, what do you think about Roswell? He goes, it's obviously a cover up. He goes, I can't say much, but just look at what the government has come out and said, and they lied and cover up every step of the way. Here's some fun stuff. There's a UFO interactive map in Scotland. Hey, why isn't it showing up? Where's the map? Oh, there it is. The United Kingdom. And yeah, there's like, it shows where there's like 46 here, 22. So this is not a U.S. phenomenon, which people like to say.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say. Is everyone thinks it's a U.S. thing, and it's absolutely not.
No, it's not. And we just have better reporting mechanisms too. I mean, more countries will have this, and there's less stigma in this country. Yes, people still laugh about it. It's still less than other countries.
Yeah.
You know, most countries really, but look at that. But we know the UK has crazy sightings. They've always had crazy sightings. I would argue that there's a lot of occult activity that we see a lot of these sightings too.
Yeah, again, this is for the philosophy episode, but I think there's some sort of connection between the occults and UFOs, and just
for sure, always. There's
Yeah.
always been a connection with those.
Yeah.
And some comedy you shared with us might be good to end the show on some of these.
Oh, this is great. So this
I've never
is
seen this one.
So hold on, really quick before you start. This is a skit from The Whitest Kids You Know. Rest in peace, Trevor Moore.
Yeah, it's hilarious.
It's funny that you're playing this because I was going to use this as our ending clip, but that's
You are okay. So wait,
No. I'll you know what? I'll use a different one because
because you sent me 2. So should I not play the second one?
I sent you 3. No, go ahead and share this. This fits the theme of the show.
Okay, so yeah, his white press. He's a White House press secretary.
Okay, thank you for waiting. The president has asked me to come out and make a brief statement about the wire that just went out a couple minutes ago. To make things short, I will just confirm that yes, we do have a moon base, and yes, we are currently experiencing some bear problems. Now, I will open it up if there are any questions.
Mr. Press Secretary, Mr. Press Secretary, Mr. Press Secretary,
New York Times.
Yes, I have a 11-part question.
I'm sorry, I only have time for 2.
All right, let me get this straight. So the United States government is admitting that we do have a moon base and that there is a bear problem on said moon base.
Yes, that is correct.
All right, follow-up question. Are you fucking with us?
That's a really good question. No, we are not, and I would like to remind everyone to keep the language civilized. This is the White House.
Excuse me, Mr. Secretary, Bob Daniels, Newsweek.
Mr. Daniels.
How long have we had the moon base? And are these bears Earth bears, or are they from the moon?
I'm sorry, I'm not at liberty to disclose how long we have had this moon base at this time. We do believe these to be Earth bears. We have no reason to believe these to be lunar bears or even Saturn bears.
Todd Albright, PBS.
Saturn bears.
There's Saturn bears?
I am also not at liberty to go into the various types of woodland life forms on Saturn or any of the other 12 planets.
9 planets.
Right. I've said too much already. What I can show you is the images that have been beamed down to us from the Odyssey satellite system just a couple hours ago. This is the view out of the front door of the United States secret moon base. This was taken yesterday before we discovered the bear problem. And this one was taken just a couple hours ago. So, as you can see, bears everywhere.
Mr. President, Mr. President, Mr. President, Mr. President.
Yeah.
So what he's talking about, I gotta explain. Well, I don't know. Should we just link this? The first
And we
picture
are going
is
to,
just like basically just a regular picture of the moon and Earth's in the background. The second one is a picture of bears like holding guns and riding motorcycles and stuff.
It's so funny. So when did this one come out?
Oh, this is old, man. This is like
15 years ago.
Yeah, this is old.
Wow,
All right,
man.
go
Yeah.
ahead. That picture of the bears holding guns is so funny.
Dude, that is so
Wait,
funny.
no, go back. You gotta finish it.
Oh yeah. Okay, wait a minute. Did I stop it back at the right place? Share screen.
I can't see your screen.
No, I know, but because I went back to the picture. Oh yeah. So wait.
Okay. Yeah, there you go.
Mr. President, Mr. President, Mr. President,
Mr. James.
Yeah, those bears appear to have guns and motorcycles.
We believe they may be involved in some sort of intergalactic drug cartel, perhaps affiliated with one of the interstellar wizard alliances.
Wizard alliances?
Interstellar wizard alliances.
I still think that guy going wizard alliances. It's so funny.
Yes, next question.
Just a thought, more of a shot in the dark, but we wouldn't happen to be invading Iran today, would we?
You got me.
I fell for it. You almost got away with that one.
No, I went too far. I almost had it. I should have stopped after the slides. I knew I should have stopped
I didn't think
there.
anything about it until the cartel thing, and I was like,
Okay, all right. Let's forget this whole thing. Who wants a drink? First round's on me. Come on.
Oh my god, it's hilarious, dude. The guy was such a genius.
He really was.
Oh man.
There's this rap video he does called High in Church, and that makes me laugh so much.
Yeah, the Bring Out the Guillotines is him too, right? He has that song "Bring Out the Guillotines."
Yeah, I think so.
Oh my god, it's so funny.
I heard that he died. He was only, I think he was like 42, 43.
Very young. Yeah, he's my age. Yeah, if not, younger.
Yeah. He apparently fell off. He had a 2-story house and fell off his balcony or something. He was drunk, I guess.
Oh yeah, probably sad. But that was a funny clip. He has really funny clips, so we'll link all those.
Yeah.
Wow, because we're at an hour and 40 minutes.
Oh, I'm aware. I'm the editor after all.
All right, but not too much to cut out, I don't think. Maybe just a
no. There's a couple things I've written the notes down of where I need to cut. It shouldn't be.
We had
too
some
hard.
good feedback today. I mean, this week from listeners. Like one was, I put you guys on so I can fall asleep, but then, the episode was too much going on where they couldn't sleep. Great to hear. Good feedback there.
Yeah, it's good to hear we're not putting people to sleep with our podcast.
I know, right? Yeah. Listen to another podcast if you want to go to sleep.
Yeah.
Well, a lot going on with this subject. I'm glad that we have an outlet for us to discuss this, and
yeah, definitely. Otherwise, we'd drive our families nuts.
I know. Right now, we hardly even talk about it because we get it out here.
Yeah, exactly.
But cool. I mean, please give us more feedback. Share this podcast with people that you know. I think we share good information and good research, and we always put the link so you can verify for yourself. We're
definitely
on.
Adam, will you tell us about our sponsor today?
Well, also our sponsor is the Legal Hemp Marketplace. Get your legal hemp cannabinoids at a great price. Probably the best price on the internet. Huge choice. You have a huge choice, and as long as it's not explicitly illegal in your state, you'll get it right to your doorstep. So,
do you want to say the name of the company?
Kineba. So Kineba, but spelled Qinneba, and it means hemp in ancient Aramaic. A dead language, but still, it's a cool name. I think
it's a really cool name.
Yeah, great customer service. Please support them. It supports the show. Also, you can follow us on Twitter at UAP.
Well, it's not called Twitter anymore, is it?
Sorry, X.com. We're at UAP the podcast there. You can find us on all platforms. Again, Stitcher listeners, you got to get off the platform, go somewhere else. Sorry to tell you, August 31st, it's gone.
Oh man.
Yeah, find somewhere else. I mean, Podcast Addict is pretty, independent that way. If you like Stitcher and its independence, Podcast Addict is independent. You can still find us there. Also, we've been added on there. But yeah, I mean, there's Apple, there's Spotify, which have been great to us. They've been a great platform for us.
And it's free to listen to the show on Spotify. You don't have to pay anything.
No. And we don't have any ads until it's usually at the end here. It's just a little mention. But that's it. We don't interrupt the show. It's an ad-free show supported by our listeners. Soon to be supported by our listeners. But that's all I have in my end.
All right. Well, that of course is Adam. I am Tip Top Topher, and you've been listening to the Uncovering Anomalies podcast. Thank you all so much for listening, and we will see you all next week.
Triple T, Tip Top Topher.
Tip Top Topher.